What's going on, everybody? It's Retro JoJo, back again with another video. It's been a while since I've done any content or videos or really anything shorts or anything like that. But I just wanted to go over some recent pickups and talk about some other things that I've been doing lately. And yeah, so I was actually just playing this game. It's a Dead Space Extraction for the Nintendo Wii, and I had heard about it when it came out, but I wasn't, really supposed to play it back when it was originally released. Uh, for obvious reasons, I'm sure. You could, if you know anything about Dead Space, the other games that come out on other consoles, then you know kind of why my parents were probably a little, not really sure about it, not really that gung ho for me to play it. But it has you can play. It's like a rail shooter. This one's more of a rail shooter, and it plays similar to other rail shooters that I think I've talked about a couple on this channel, but it's a little different. You have like vials that you get to heal yourself, and you have like telekinesis type of thing, and you can pick up items and ammo and things like that. It's a really good game though, and it has co-op mode. So, and I'm actually only on chapter 3, I think 3 or 4, and I think there's like 12 or 16 or something like that. So I've got a ways to go, and I plan on maybe doing a review or doing some gameplay if I can, once I figure out this camera that I bought. But yeah, hopefully I'll be able to do live streams and things like that soon, or just playing the game and kind of getting a reaction video or something different. So change it up a little bit. So, but other than that, it's just a great game. I think it's a like a prequel, like a first, like the beginning of how Dead Space came to be, and then you play. So in order to play all the games in order, you play this, I believe is how it goes, and then Dead Space 1, 2, and I think there's a third one. I never really got into the series, like I said, when I was a teenager, so I'm getting into it now, I suppose. But it's a good start to kind of, easing you into Dead Space, because the other games are more complex than just a rail shooter. But this is a good way to start if you ever want to get some backstory on Dead Space. Great game. Has good visuals for the Wii. It has good, it's not a PS5 visual, but if you're playing retro games and things like that, then you kind of count, hey, this looks pretty good for the Wii, or this looks pretty good for this system, etc., etc. You have a little bit of, fun with it. So it's not. In other words, it's not just about the graphics. It's about how well does it play. What is the sound? The score, or the soundtrack, or whatever you want to call it. Like, does the story interesting? Because I don't care how much paint you put on a game, if the story is bad, if the story sucks, it doesn't matter. You can just throw those graphics down the tubes. In my opinion, it doesn't matter to me. I mean, as long as it's got a good story and it's got and it's fun to play, and a plus is always that you can play with your friends, or you can co-op story modes are a lot of fun to me. So anyway, just thought that was a really good game, and it's one that I recently picked up and actually got a deal on this one, so I'm happy with purchasing that game. Yeah. Okay, I think we'll move on. We've said enough about Dead Space Extraction. So this game, I just recently talked about an Oddworld game, and that was Stranger's Wrath, and I raved about it, how much I liked it, loved it, to be honest. I love that game. It was a lot of fun, and I enjoyed playing it. And it was just one of those games I threw it to the side, didn't really mess with it, and then one day I just said, the heck with it. I'll throw it in the Xbox and try it out and give it another shot and see if it's any good. And lo and behold, I played the entire game. So it obviously must have been good if I, played the whole thing. But this is Oddworld Munch's Odyssey. I actually had another copy, but it doesn't work. So I bought this copy. And I haven't played much of this. I've never really heard a lot about it. And I only popped it in to make sure it worked after I got it, because it was kind of late the night that I got back from where I was at. but it looks interesting. It looks kind of like something I would play. So, it says you can play cooperatively as much in A. You have Vendo weapons. You can possess enemies. You get power ups from the Vendos, as it calls it, vending machines, I guess. So that's really cool, and I like the artwork. It reminds me of, if you can pick, I don't know if yeah, there it goes. It's picking it up now. Um, if you remember the old, I'm laughing because it's funny to me. It's kind of when I was, twas a child. Um, I was probably maybe 5 or 4, maybe even 3. But they had the soda cans with the episode 1 stuff on it. That's what this looks like. I'll let you, so you can maybe make that comparison. It looks like something like that with the characters on it, and it's just a really cool cover. So can't say too much about that game. I haven't gotten into it a whole lot, but I showed it because it's something I picked up. So next, this is a game I have played and will continue to play, and we'll play with friends, and probably won't ever stop playing it. I'll play it with my kids or whatever, however, good Lord willing, hopefully. Uh, but and that's Lord of the Rings: Return of the King. I have it. I still have it on PS2, but my PS2 quit on me. It happens. They get older, they break down, things happen. I've tried to protect them as much as I can. I plan to get some boxes for my consoles, the ones that work, to make sure that they don't get further damage to them, or things like that. But Return of the King, you can play 1 to 2 players, and oh yeah, I'll show the back of it as well. You got Legolas and Gimli on the back, and Gandalf and the White, and Aragorn on the front. So it's a great game. So how that game works is you have branch and pass. Like at certain points, like once you do it does like the last little bit of what was the battle called? 2 Towers. I'm drawing a blank right now. It wasn't Minas Tirith. It was what's the name of that? It's coming to me. I'm getting there. I'm trying to think. Helm's Deep. I knew I would get there. So it's like at the end of Helm's Deep, when you're fighting all the Uruk-hai, and so you finish that in 2 Towers, and it kind of transitions. It's both. I believe they're both EA games. So it picks up right at the end when Gandalf, comes to their aid with the soldiers of Rohan to help them. You play that, and you actually play as Gandalf, which I thought was really cool. And I think he plays other characters in that level. That's like the opening sequence, and then it finishes 2 Towers kind of up in Return of the King game, and then it starts the Return of the King storyline. There's some cutscenes and things like that, and you can unlock different characters too, which I thought was cool. So you can unlock Frodo, Sam, Pippin, and Merry, which is really cool. I think Faramir, Faramir, and there's a lot of unlockable characters. I mean, of course you have Aragorn, Legolas, Gimli, Gandalf the White. You have there's another one. I think you can unlock Gollum or Smeagol if I'm not. It's like a secret. There you go. There's a good word for it. It's a secret that you can unlock, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but I think he's an unlockable character too. But how it works is, it's just like the other game. You're rated based on how well you do, how many combos you can land in chain combo and things like that together without taking damage. So, and how, if you do more moves that you get through upgrades with the points that you get from how fair, good, or there's like fair, good, excellent, and then perfect. And you can get perfect mode just like in 2 Towers. So a lot of it's the same. And then you can purchase upgrades with your points for each character. You can level them up, and then you can use those moves, or increase their health or things like that. I guess like ammo capacity, things like it's about the same as far as that goes. But the way that it's different is in 2 Towers, you're kind of bound to 3 characters. Now you've got more characters, and you can play co-op. So you can co-op story mode, and you can, there's like branching paths. When it gets to a certain point, it's almost like a tree, and your select screen, and it lets you go either this way, or straight. And one's like the path of the king, and then one's like what Gandalf's doing at that time, Path of the Wizard, I think it's called, and then the other one is the Path of the Hobbits. That's right. I had to refresh my memory for a minute there. Make sure I had it right. But yeah, it's just one of those games, and it has, you know, a lot of the iconic music you would expect, and it's a lot of fun. If you've ever played it with somebody, I would highly recommend playing Return of the King with someone and hooking up that old Icebox as a, you know, big old original Xbox. It might be on the Xbox store. I'm not sure. Like for new gen consoles, I don't know though. I've got the S, but that's I've got the original and the S as far as Xboxes go, Microsoft stuff. So, but yeah, it's another game. Sorry about that I picked up and that I thought was just like reliving your childhood. So, yeah. Now, I want to talk about a game that I watch people play. I actually watched another YouTuber on YouTube, and he played it, and a couple of other YouTubers that I watch, they played it, and they did reviews on it and things like that. And that's Shadow Man. I've actually played Second Coming. I wasn't all that impressed with Second Coming. I love the artwork on this N64 cartridge, though, and I got this at a really fair price. It's just a great game, and it works. I tested it, and it works, so that's great. Not much I can say about it other than I like the intro music and I like the music in the game. And it's very similar to the Second Coming game, Shadow Man 2. It's just better from what my understanding of what people are telling me, what YouTubers I've watched, reviews I've watched. Like I said, different YouTubers I watch and still watch have talked about it. And from what I can tell, it's a lot better than the second game. So I'm looking forward to playing that one. And I may do a full in-depth review with more information about it at a later time, but at current I haven't really played it, so I can't fairly review it right now. But I just thought I would include it because, like I say, this was all picked out at the same time, so I thought I would just show it, and we'll talk about a few other things, and then that'll wrap things up for this time. So the last one I want to talk about, and this, sadly I don't have the artwork for it. I have these games, well, three of these games, three of them on the PS2, but since it quit, I was looking for the Kingdom Hearts, like the remix, I believe it's called, and this is Kingdom Hearts 1.5 and 2.5 remix. Like I said, it's just like a GameStop pre-owned cover, sadly. But here, I'll open it up. Actually, take the disc out. It's got cool artwork on this disc, though. It's got Sora with the crown on one side, and then Sora, like Kingdom Hearts 2 era. The other one's like, I guess Kingdom Hearts 1. Like I said, I haven't played all of the games on this disc. I played some of them before and finished them. I'm still working on, let me put this back. We're currently working on finishing Kingdom Hearts Final Mix, the first one. I did not think that game would have such difficulty spike for me still. Like some of the bosses, I think I'm a level 48 or 50 by now. And for some reason, I'm still having trouble with Ansem. The second fight, not the first fight, not Darkseid. The one after Darkseid, where if you die, you have to fight Darkseid and Ansem in his second form again. And then if you beat Ansem the second time, then you go to the, like, I think it's called Chaos of Worlds or something like that he turns into. That's like from the Final Mix to Japanese, because that's not in the North American. When I was looking into it, I was like, what's the difference? I mean, they added a few new, I think, moves and things, or not moves, but like power-ups and things like that you can get, like abilities. And they added a couple of other things, but other than that, a couple of new enemies. That's about it. The game remains the same. Cutscenes are the same. It's just an HD. but it's a good game, and I plan on finishing it fairly soon. And I will be moving on to Chain of Memories, which I have on the PS2, but I have never finished it. I got into two like about the time that I got Chain of Memories for Christmas, and then I wanted two for my birthday. It was like really because Chad didn't even know Chain of Memories had come out at that time, and so and also it's got like a card based system in Chain of Memories, and I always thought running around kind of having that free roam RPG element. Well, not it's not fully free roam, like more on scale with Breath of the Wild, but it's what I mean. It's kind of a you get to run around the worlds, and you get to do that in Chain of Memories, but the enemies don't just appear in that area. You kind of go to like a RPG style thing from what I remember about that game. So it's just I thought I had to sneeze there. But it's just one of those games that I played a lot of as a kid, and I wanted to play it again, and even a teenager. I played it. It was around until I was practically an adult, or legally considered an adult. But this remix has Kingdom Hearts Final Mix on it. It has Chain of Memories or Rechain of Memories, and then it has I think three. I might get this wrong. 358 or three. I can't remember exactly. Over 2 days, that one, and it has two. I think it has Birth by Sleep and Recoded, which I've never played any of those other than 1 and 2. Those are the two that I've. And Kingdom Hearts 2 is a final mix as well, so that'll be interesting to play through. But that's my favorite is 2. The first one's really good, but the second one improves upon everything with the drive mode and like limit mode and things like that you can use to your advantage. And I haven't finished 3, so I have 3, but I've never finished it. So it'll be interesting to play through all of them and just kind of, see some of the new ones that I've got and with this, collection. And I got that at a really good price, the collection. So that's really cool. It's just one of those games that the nostalgia I wanted to try to play it again. And yeah, that's all I can say about it is Disney and Final Fantasy. There's a lot of good Disney worlds, and even then you get to see some of the Final Fantasy areas created for the game, like Hollow Bastion, Traverse Town, and then later with what was the name of that other one? There's some other anyway. There's other worlds I forgot which. There's Hollow Bastion. Now it's gonna drive me crazy. Traverse Town. The name of the one that Roxas is from. I'm drawing a blank. Oh, that's gonna drive me nuts. I will look into that, and like I said, when I do another, I just drew a blank of where it was, what the name of it was, but anyway, it's a fun game. All of them are very fun, and I plan on playing all of them, which is going to take a long time because if you know anything about Kingdom Hearts, you know that they're very in depth and long games. It's worth it. You play a little bit at a time, but at the same time, it's one of those things that you have to put down, or you'll sit there like I've done before for hours, and then you start at dark and then it's daylight when you finish playing. True story. Actually, it's happened more than once. It's just that good. It's just that good of a game to me. One of my favorite games. So now I'm going to talk about something I don't have a physical copy for, but or like a DVD or whatever for, but I found it when I was looking through some like horror stuff on Tubi, and that's Creepshow 2 and 3. Now the third one I won't say too much about because I thought that one was the third one, I'll go ahead and get that one out of the way. It was a little too cheesy. It's still good, but there's not enough, story or anything to keep me interested, in it. Interested in it, that's what I was trying to say. There just wasn't enough. The first story that it started out with was really good, with her her dad having that like universal remote. I think her name was Katie, and they forget that she even exists by the end of it, and she's this like monstrosity. Like she's turned into this like mutant. Her skin's dripping off. It's pretty. Like I said, it's not. And I want to say this: it's not a. It's not a show like Goosebumps at all. It's similar in the fact that it is. They look similar. There's a way to put it. They look similar. They have that cheesy factor. They have that, just some people call it bad writing. I think it's funny. It's comical to me, but at the same time, it's more gory. It has more, gross out gore. It's not. I'm just want to say that it's not a Goosebumps or Are You Afraid of the Dark. Even though Are You Afraid of the Dark had a lot of stuff in it that really wasn't for kids, but they put it in there anyway. But yeah, and then the one after that with the remote, it was like it just went into this cheese factory. This guy has a radio and it's telling him to do things, and then like there's this woman and she's a hooker, but then she's a serial killer. I got lost in it, and this other guy that lures her or asks her to come over there is like, yeah, he's some kind of cannibal. I don't know. They lost me with that one, and then the next stories after that were like wrapping up the Creepshow 3 was just like, why? Like it didn't. I understand that they're based on like Stephen King stuff, but it just third one didn't do it for me. It was mediocre at best. But the second one, I plan on watching the first one, because if the first one's anything like the second one only had 3 stories in it, and those 3 stories were better than the 5 that were in 3. So, with the first one, I don't remember the names of them right off. I remember one of them that stood out. But the first one is like they basically is 2 elderly people. They own this. They're a couple. They own this store, and people are just kind of running him into the ground. But then there's like Indians around there that one of the chiefs gave him like a bunch of like jewels and stuff. And then his son comes in and he's like the complete opposite. He has no honor and things like that. Anyway, he robs them and actually kills the 2 older people, because it was supposed kind of in an indirect way, but in a kind of direct way, in his own way, in Sam's own way. That character's name was, he was just insane. So he would have done it either way, in my opinion. He was just a crazy dude, all about himself, very selfish, and kind of, it's all about me. He had the hair, so he thought he would get anybody he wanted, and he'd have all the money he wanted. That's kind of how, just very cocky and arrogant. There you go. That's a good analysis. Analysis. Ugh. I almost said analogy. Not an analogy. It's an analysis. But anyway, as the story progresses, but he shoots the Indian statue in front of the store, and it comes to life. And I just thought that was, and he goes after him and his 2 accomplices. And what's interesting is the next day after he, takes him out, the chief, which is that guy's father, Sam's father, he sees the Indian statue with his son's scalp and hair in his hand, and he just says that he can rest easy now, warrior. So like he didn't even had no remorse, and that was the son. So it's just really really good story. And then the raft, of course, that's a classic. That's very, it's like this oil slick thing, and they go swimming in it, and then they get on the raft, but then it comes to the bottom of the boards of the raft and like grabs this dude's ankle and like starts like, I guess it melts. I don't really, it's gory, it's gruesome. It's not too gruesome, not to me at least. But like I say, it's not a Goosebumps thing where people don't die. This is Creepshow where people do. So just, if you watch it, just know that up front. It's really good though. I've enjoyed it. And then the last one, this like rich lady hits this homeless guy or whatever, and she keeps seeing it, and it's almost like it's in her head, but it's not. But it's like, but she's like wrecking her car and everything. It's really cool. It's really good storytelling though. It's and she was actually like cheating on her husband. It's just kind of like a revenge type of thing. You know, she gets what she deserved. She was caught up in a lie and didn't know how she was going to wiggle her way out of it. Well, she hit a homeless guy, and then it's almost like she goes insane or like an amnesia type of state, because she continues to, like, in one scene, like run into this tree and there's nobody there. But she thinks that he's there, and she's, you know, taking him out, so to speak. And yeah, she thought she had done the job, and she really just did a number on her car. But then she would like see him, and like he was on the sunroof at one point trying to get in, and she like closes it on his arm. It's really, really good storytelling in 2. I really enjoyed 2 way more than 3, and I plan to watch the Shudder original series. I watched 1 episode and it was interesting. I found 1 episode on another streaming service, but I have to look into watching all of them. I think there's 4 seasons now. So, and I'll end up watching Creepshow 1. So yeah, it's just, that's about all that I've got though this time. Oh, did want to mention one other thing. I've got these shirts that my wife is making from my YouTube channel, so I don't know if I'll pick that up. Maybe, possibly. There we go. And there's a bunch of colors like that, and I'm not like trying to sponsor myself or like, you know, I know how YouTube's kind of finicky about things like that, but we are trying to make our own thing and like do our own thing and like make my YouTube channel like merch and things like that. That would be a really good step forward in my opinion, and I will take any and all support that I can get. I'm not trying to, I'm just trying to keep the channel, going and doing different things and trying different things for the channel. So I appreciate any support, whether it's, getting a shirt or even just a like or comment things that I could do better. Anything that will help the channel out, I greatly appreciate it. And I hope everyone is safe and stays blessed.